Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you are listening to High School Hoops with our hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Steger. Hey, everybody. Welcome to High School Hoops, episode 19. This week, Jake and I are going to talk about kind of building your team's purpose, kind of where do you fit in the hierarchy, and what should your roles be kind of as a coach, different levels. But before we get to that, I'd like to do a big shout out for our sponsors of 2019, Dr. Dish. You go over and check them out. They've just come out with a new machine. I have not seen it in the process, but I can't imagine anything that they come out with isn't going to be awesome. Go over and check it out. Mention High School Hoops or Coach Unplugged, and you'll get $300 off your next purchase. Looks really cool. It looks like they have like a monitor screen and workouts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure I'll delve into that more when I hear more back from them. And also make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I can't imagine a better time for a high school coach to delve into our community. I'm taping this on a Monday, and I think I spent 4 hours on the phone with different teach hoopers all around the world, Great Britain and the U.S. and Australia and stuff, and helping them through this. And it's a great community. Not only the resources are available with the community, so go over and check it out. Right now, there's a 14-day free trial while it lasts. And and subscribe and like. If you're liking High School Hoops, please go over and subscribe and like. We would really appreciate that. All right, off to Jake and I. Here we go. All right, what episode are we on? 19.
Yes.
Wow, 19. All right, have High School Hoops. All right, what is this one, Coach? This is going to be an interesting one. I think we're going to have a lot of input on this one.
I have a really hard time trying to generate a direct question for it, but I think once we start talking about it, I think it'll be a great topic for all high school coaches, in the sense of having a common dialogue and a common conversation among the coaches within a program, whether you're coaching freshmen, JV, or varsity, whether boys or girls. I just thought about this, understanding what your team's purpose is in regards to the level that you're coaching. So, for example, I was thinking about this the last couple of days because I'm a varsity assistant about a mid-sized community in the state of Wisconsin, and we just took over a program, and we're noticing many gaps that our varsity players have. What I mean by gaps are things that you would expect a varsity basketball player to have. The ability to understand transition defense, proper box out technique, or being able to handle pressure. Those type of things are missing. And I think what happens, and you can add on this, coach, is that often other coaches approach their younger level teams in the sense that they're a varsity team, and those gaps are missing. Become hindered to a program as they move up the level in a high school program. So what if a team is 18-3 their freshman year? By the time they get to juniors and seniors and they don't have those skills, the teams that really are really successful when it comes to March are the ones that have mastered those fundamentals. And so I think it's really important to self-reflect on what age level that you're coaching. And are you doing the things that get them ready for the next level? This idea in the education world right now is this idea of growth mindset. I think it's really important to think about it in a sense of the basketball world too. What am I doing to develop growth within the team that I'm coaching?
Right. Well, first of all, I'd say we could label this fundamentals.
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
we,
But
we really
we both
could.
been there. We
But
have
it's like
kids that
if
are
when a,
missing
when
that
a, if a kid gets to me and doesn't know what the helpline is, we've got some issues.
big time.
You
But
know.
it
So
happens.
I first of all, this is gonna be a shameless plug for Teach Hoops, but that it is literally like you better before you get your head job, before you become a coach, you better have everything mapped out and know what you want your freshman coaches teaching, what you want your JV coaches teaching, what you want them to, because your sophomore or the team right below varsity has to be your AAA, if you're using a baseball analogy, has to be the guy. They have to have everything ready for you when they come. Like my JV team is running the similar offense that we're running, and 10, 15 years ago when we were running the swing, they were running the swing too, because they were getting ready to come and hopefully play for me someday. So I think you have to have that mapped out, and that's not an easy thing to do. That's not an easy roadmap by any stretch. But especially for those of you that are shooting to become head coaches at some point, you have to be able to do that.
Yeah, but Coach, like I think it is important to understand an offensive system, but I think a lot of times that's sometimes the only thing that a coach is concerned about within a JV or a freshman team
Right.
is like, and that becomes a blinding them. And if
Yep.
you talk about, I really enjoy the last podcast you did on, it was on Coach Unplugged. You talked to the guy from the Reading React. What's his name?
Rick Torbert.
Yeah, you're talking about his new fusion process and those
Yep.
6 core concepts.
Yep.
Building on those 6 core sounds, so the fusion process is really big too. We're talking about defensive principles, those type of things. Those things need to be well rounded for a basketball team to be successful at the varsity level. I just think that sometimes an offense of whatever the varsity is running is exactly what I need to be doing at the JV and freshman level. Yeah, I get that, but I feel like that sometimes takes away some of the other things that need to happen to be really successful at the highest level.
Well, I think it's also building too. Like
Right.
I can tell you in our practice today, like we can run everybody, I hope you're enjoying that. Just take 30 seconds if you could for us. Hit pause, stop that treadmill, stop the car and pull over to the side of the road and leave a review. We would love that. It doesn't take very long. This is a new podcast, High School Hoops. So I would hope you could go over and do that for us. Those 5 stars really mean a lot to us. If you could do that, we'd really appreciate it. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial. Not sure how long that free trial is going to last. So if you're thinking about joining, I would do that soon. Also, it is the new year. It's 2019. What a great time to go over and check out our great community over there with like-minded coaches at teachhoops.com. So, all right, off to the podcast. Only can run our half-court offense in the half-court really well. I'll put our half-court offense against anybody in the half-court. But how many times do I actually get to run it set up in the half-court? It's about 15% of the time. I'm a stats teacher. So what did we work on today? We worked on getting pressured into transition, into our offense, and then converting back to and then it crumbled today. It was perfect. It was what I was thinking about on the flight home from Florida. It's like, all right, what are we good at? What are we not good at? What do we need to get better at? And I don't need to work on our half-court offense. I need to work transition into it. Well, similar to the younger coaches, look at what your kids are good at. If they're not good at defensive rebounding, they're not good at boxing out, those are the skills that they're going to need to make the step to the next level. And that's your job as the 3rd grade teacher to get them ready for the 4th grade teacher. If they don't know the specific things, then they're going to be behind. And that's what I think that's the point you're trying to make is those basic, everything's a building block. And I'm not sure the youth and all that stuff is doing it at the level it needs to.
Yeah, I think about like the idea of time wasters in your practice. I know that a lot of coaches do make that misconception of constantly doing everything in the half court, and they master that half court. But how often does that really happen? What can you do to be able to eliminate and have more time to do other things and fix those things are really important as well. Also, making sure that your practices fit your program value system. So whatever you're doing fits in the system in which is only going to help them as they move up the ladder in the program is very really important as well.
Right. And the thing is, you have to look at your practices and figure out what are time wasters and what are not time wasters. I totally agree with the whole, make sure every drill has a reason, blah, blah, blah. But, there's things that I do, like we run 11 man. We'll do stuff. I use those kind of drills as transition drills.
Right.
So, we're going from this. All right, do 11 man. Then we'll do it for 2 or 3 minutes. And then we transition to the next thing because it keeps their attention. There's all those drills that we've all learned, like 5-man weave and all that kind of stuff. I still use those in a varsity practice. I do. I disagree with 100% getting rid of them. I don't use them like I used to 20 years ago, but I use them as I've done this, now I'm moving to this, and I need something to gap it in between. And it's really quick, and it gets them moving, and they like them, and, there's some offense and those kind of things. That's where I find it useful.
Right, because sometimes, like you said, kids need structure, and sometimes those drills give them a little bit of structure. I don't think you can be able to do 5-on-5 all day, every day in a practice either.
Right,
I think that,
and the whole layering and all that stuff, I get it. And it's, if you're a youth coach and you're listening to this, or you're somebody that wants to be you don't necessarily, maybe you have practice twice a week and you can only do, then you got to figure out what specific skill levels you need to get good at. But if you're a freshman coach and you're practicing 5 days a week, then, what skill levels, can half your team dribble with their weak hand kind of thing? Or can they, shoot an open jumper or, those kind of things?
The last thing I say, because I think we're getting to a point of pretty touching on this topic, is don't be afraid to ask questions if you're a JV2 or a JV coach. Varsity coach does get pretty bombarded with a lot of things in the course of a season. Ask questions. So what are the things that my players need? And the head coach is just going to love you for that, because there are going to be times where he's in the course of practice wondering how the heck did they don't know how to do this, and having that common conversation with the head coach is going to be really valuable to your team and your players' growth.
Right. Yeah. All right. Anything else on that, Coach?
Nope. Sounds good.
I think that's really good. All right. Talk to you next week.
Yep. Sounds
Bye.
good.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Couple things I would ask that you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's 2019. I would like to be able to send my son to college. You can help me do that by joining teachhoops.com. But realistically, yes, it is 2019, and I think it would be a great time to become a better basketball coach. Let me help you become a better basketball coach. Let me help you mentor you through this great journey. So go over and check it out, 14-day free trial. Also, go over and subscribe and like. We would really appreciate that. It's very easy to do. You can just do that on whatever you listen on, iTunes or Stitcher. All right. Have a great week, everybody. The days are getting longer. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.